Racism is not the reason your ass is broke. So don't get me twisted now. I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist in this country and that it isn't the foundation of everything here in America, right? I'm not crazy enough to believe that. I'm a black man, and when I look in the mirror, I know I'm a black man. And especially when the police ride up behind me, I remember I'm a black man, right? But check this out. Our ancestors were overcomers. That's why we're the way we are. We wouldn't be here today if our ancestors weren't the type of people that said, you know what? This is a racist country. There's some things that are unfair. We know that. But we're going to work harder and be smarter than everybody else so we can get to the next level. And that's what this is all about. We're talking about mindset shift today. And I want you to start thinking about your ancestors. Think about the things that they went through. We don't have it as hard as them, although we do have our own struggles. But these are 5 things that we can do to help our mindset shift and be prepared for 2026. So we're in Q4 2025. There's some things we need to prepare for. But the foundation for everything that we're going to talk about going forward, it all depends on where your mindset is as you enter into it. So let's talk about mindset shifts. So number one, we have to go from scarcity to abundance. Uh, I heard it once said that there's enough for everybody on earth. And when the person was saying it, I was at a conference, and when the person was saying it, it was very profound when he said it because I started thinking, like, it really is. If it's still places where there is nobody on the earth, that means there's still things out there that we can conquer. It's still opportunities for us to continue to grow out, right? And then I started thinking about this: your wants, your needs, your proclivities aren't mine. For instance, I'm a Mercedes guy. My producer, she's a BMW lady. We don't like the same thing. So it doesn't have to be the same stuff that we want to both get. We both want a car, but she wants this one. I want that one. It's more than enough out there for us to have both, right? So that scarcity mindset is something that keeps you bound sometimes. So we have to get around that scarcity mindset and start thinking in abundance. If you're a Christian like me, you know that the Bible tells you that it's always going to be who? Borrowers, and lenders, right? I'd rather be the lender. It's more, it's better to be able to give the sandwich than to need a sandwich, right? And so when we start thinking about this wealth building journey that we're on, I want you to stop thinking that you can only have this much because there's really this much out there for you. And if you put in the work, if you do what you're supposed to do, you can go have it all. Trust me, I've been there. I've been rich, I've been broke. I prefer being rich. Okay. Number two, you have to embrace lifelong learning. This has kind of been the theme of season 4, if you will, lifelong learning. Part of it is because a lot of people are losing their jobs, and I want them to be in a position where they can actually continue to feed themselves, right? We don't want people to go broke. I don't want to see you out living on the streets or not being able to take your kid wherever you want them to go for vacation and those kind of things, right? So I want you to embrace lifelong learning. I wrote a note here. The wealthy never stop learning. That's why we have this background here that we have. I want you to see these books, and maybe you see a book and you're like, I wonder what that book is. I wonder what that book's about. And you go grab it. That's why we have this background set up this way. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm always trying to figure out something. I tell my staff all the time, if I can learn something new today, then today was a good day. Shout out to Cube, right? So being a lifelong learner allows you to be able to pivot very quickly when new things come out. So many times, when a new show comes out, we switch from the old show and we watch the new show. So many times when a new team comes out, we start going for the old team, we forget going for the new team, we forget our old team. Well, the same should be true when it comes to lifelong learning. Right now, we're in the age of AI. If you go back and look at the past, we've had a couple of revolutions that most of us have lived through. So if you're, in the 40s like me, then you remember when there was no internet, right? When you had to go outside and dig in the ground and figure out something to do. in order to not be bored, right? Then the internet came. So we had a mindset shift because we understood, okay, things are moving to the web. So now I got to learn those things, right? Now we're having this shift to AI. And so same thing has happened. You got the metaverse that's going to probably be where most people spend the majority of their time in the next 10 years. That's a whole nother conversation. I don't have time to go into it. Watch the videos. I talk about the metaverse and what's going to happen there and why they're creating that. But again, we're talking about embracing that lifelong learning and shifting to what's actually going to be, not what is. So, even as a college professor, I tell my students this every semester. What degree are you going for? I'll ask them, what degree are you going for? And they'll say something like, finance or something like that. And I say, do you know that that job may not exist in the next 10 years? Are you preparing yourself to be able to pivot or shift if that's the fact? And most of them aren't, because since they were a little kid, somebody's been telling them, you should be an accountant. You should be an accountant. You should be an accountant. And now they're in college trying to be an accountant, trying to be an accountant. But in 10 years, they're no more accountants. They're no more accountants, right? So we got to shift our mindset and be lifelong learners. Number 3, let go of money shame. Now, this is something that even when I say it now, it hits me in the heart. I had money shame for a long time. I've told this story before. My first credit card, I ran it up at Dillard's, bought everything with Polo on it. And so I started putting myself in debt very early on in life. And so I never talked to anybody about it. I just pretended like it didn't exist. Paid my $25 a month. I knew it was building up. I could have asked somebody. I could have asked, well, not my parents because they were just bad with money as I was. But I was around a lot of smart people in the Air Force. I could have asked somebody, but I had this money shame. I was like, I don't want anybody to know I'm broke. One thing about this generation that's coming up, they don't have any shame about most things at all. It's us older ones that are still holding on to that old stinking thinking. So don't have money shame. Be willing to let someone help you. Now, pick the right person now. Don't go to church telling everybody your business and then they, looking at you crazy. Make sure you pick someone that you can trust, that you can have a conversation with, and someone that's open. As a investment strategist, especially when I'm working with my young people at TCU, I'm always very transparent to them. I tell them about how I screwed up my money in my 20s. I got a video where I tell you how my 20s, right? So I'm very transparent. And then I talk about how I recovered from that. Started with my mind, started with a mindset shift. But then I'm open to telling them the true story of how I got where I got. So many times, a lot of us want to look rich, but we're really broke. So many times, some of us become rich or wealthy, and we don't want to reach back and help anybody else because, again, we got that money shame. I was broke before, but now I'm good, but I still have the shame that exists from that journey. So get rid of that money shame. You cannot help anybody if you're the person that has made it, if you still have money shame, and you can't make it to where you're trying to go if you have that money shame as the person that's broke right now. It's okay. We all been there. Trust me. Mindset shift number 4, prioritize your health. Okay. Again, this is one that I had to take seriously the older I get, right? So as you get older, you got to make those doctor appointments. You have to go and figure out and find out if there's anything going on inside of your body that they can get ahead of. I haven't told many people this, but my father-in-law was diagnosed with prostate cancer very recently. And I'm proud of him because he's an old school Mexican guy. He really doesn't like going to the doctor. But my wife, she bends everybody's ear and makes us all go to the doctor. So she made the dude go to the doctor. They told her that they caught it so early that he'll have 100% return. Like when everything is done down there, he'll be good to go. So he's going to be great. And so thank you for your prayers. I know some people hear prostate cancer and they automatically think that's a death sentence. It's not. So again, go and get those health checkups because as you become wealthier, you want to live longer so you can enjoy the money. You don't want to be wealthy and sitting around and can't move or can't, fly because your blood pressure might explode your head while you're in the air. So be healthy, be wealthy. Those things work together. We have what we call the Wallet and Wellness Conference where we talk about your money, yes, but the juxtaposition between money, physical, spiritual, and mental health. And that's why we call it the Wallet and Wellness Conference, because it's all about the wealth of the holistic person. And then number five, build a legacy mindset. I come from a generation where we had to get it out of the mud. But does every generation have to start over and get it out of the mud? I hear guys all the time, they're like, man, I ain't leaving my kids nothing. They can fend for themselves like I did. And I'm like, brother, listen, that's not the mindset we need to have in 2025. That's the 1982 mindset, right? So we have to pivot and shift and grow as people. You don't want your family to be broke. I tell it this way: when you get older and your grandkids or kids or whoever come around, you want them to be happy to see you. Not because you're a sugar daddy, you give them money every time you see them, like me. I give my nieces and nephews ones and fives every time I see them. So they be like, Uncle Money. But anyway, not because of that, but you want to leave them with a tradition of excellence. How do we get there? By creating generational wealth. Now, I know everybody's not going to try and be wealthy and rich and all of those kind of things. So it's not necessarily a monetary, again, we're talking about shifting our mindset, right? It's not necessarily about the money, but you have wisdom to give. So if you don't have $5 to give to your niece or nephew, give them some wisdom. And so many times we think that the young kids won't listen to us. Oh, they ain't paying no attention to us. Oh, they listening, but they also watching. And they'll do what they see more than they'll do what they hear. But it's important to align those two things so when they see you, you look nice, you smell good, you're talking about something that's going to actually help propel them forward. That's why you got to stay plugged into a community of people that are thinkers and growers and learners so you can tap in. I tell people all the time, steal my stuff, please. Steal it and go take it and give it to somebody else. You can tell them you came up with it. You don't have to send them to the YouTube page. It's okay. I'm more apt to believe that if we each one teach one and each one help one, we can change our community from the inside and out, inside out. No one's coming to save us, guys. They've already proven that, right? They're spending money on all kind of things, right? The Ukrainian war, tariffs, other countries, other problems in other places. When you got a community of people sitting right here that could use that money, and every time we get passed over. So how many times are you going to allow that to continue to happen before you realize you got to pick your own self up by your own bootstraps and get to learning and get to doing something and get to helping somebody? All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox. So as we land the plane for the day, I want to remind you that a mindset shift can happen at any point in your life. You're never too young. You're never too old. Continue to pivot and continue to learn things so you can, be the best version of yourself. That's what we're all about here at QP. So think and grow rich. We'll see you on the next episode.